The most basic definition of self-discipline is the ability to control your urges in order to meet your long-term goals. The key word here is your long-term goals, your reason why you say no to instant gratification. The second best thing to stick to the promises you made to yourself is to have a strong why and remind yourself of it when faced with a temptation. Let's imagine your goal is to get healthy and lose weight. That's a fine goal, but it won't work when someone tempts you with a piece of chocolate. This goal isn't specific enough and it doesn't elicit a powerful emotional response. Let's switch it to something more specific. You want to lose 20 pounds by the end of the year to fit into your sexy red dress or suit. Replace it with any other favorite piece of clothing that makes you feel good. Imagine how light and young you will feel when you wear it, how happy and healthy you will be, in control of your diet and your fitness. Now look at that piece of chocolate. Is it really worth it to give up this powerful vision for a short burst of sugar? Grab an apple instead and feel good knowing you're still on track. There's one thing missing in this technique though. Pause and think about your why in full details. Think about what you hear, what you smell, what else you feel. The goal is to give yourself at least a minute to take your mind off the craving. When you slow down, your body will restore its ability to resist a temptation. If you make an impulse decision when faced with a craving, your choice is rarely going to be aligned with your long-term goals. That's the technique you can use when you're faced with a temptation. It's not an effective way to motivate yourself on a daily basis, though. The common approach of visualizing your goal is more likely to get you off track than help you get closer to your goal. Let's explore why the proper way to visualize. UCLA researchers Line B. Pham and Shelley E. Taylor conducted an experiment that compared standard visualization, imagining the moment you achieve the goal, with sports visualization that focuses on visualizing the process used by the likes of Michael Phelps, one of the top Olympic swimming medalists. Their findings confirm that visualizing the process in detail is more effective than imagining the goal. A single event. Imagining the goal, thanks to dopamine, lets you enjoy the feeling of reward without actually doing any work. Consequently, you lose the drive to strive to reach your objectives. How should you visualize your goals? To become more disciplined than you envision in little details each action you need to take in order to achieve your goal. If your goal is to become a healthy, fit and strong person, you envision lifting weights and sweat trickling down your forehead. You think about cooking a healthy, tasty meal. You imagine yourself walking past the aisle with your favorite snacks and picking vegetables. Instead, you see yourself putting on your running shoes instead of turning on your television. Better yet, it should be gone from your house forever. In other words, you train your mind to prepare yourself for the challenges you're undoubtedly going to meet in the real world. The more often you picture all the necessary steps you need to take to achieve your goal, the easier it will be to make them an inherent, non-negotiable part of your life. When you switch your mind from event-oriented to process-oriented, magic will happen. Be selective in your life. Research suggests that students tend to procrastinate more on tasks regarded as unpleasant, and to a lesser extent on tasks requiring skills they didn't believe they possessed. The solution: become more selective in your life and focus on the essential tasks, ideally tasks you find both pleasant and that play off your strengths. People who want to become more disciplined often mistake self-discipline with making themselves miserable. That's not what self-discipline is about. The only use of increased self-discipline is to help you reach the goals you want to achieve. In other words, no amount of self-discipline will be enough to help you stick to doing things you hate. Here's where the issue of selectivity comes into play. We all have 24 hours in a day and limited energy. Spreading yourself thin by trying to accomplish too many things at once is suboptimal at best and will work against you in the worst case. That's why the first step to introduce more self-discipline into your life is to form keystone habits. In many cases, these simple behaviors will lead to huge changes that will lead to yet more transformation. The second important thing is to ask yourself how your new goals fit into your general plan for your life. Are you doing them because you genuinely believe they will enhance your life, or because that's something you're supposed to do? Here's an anecdote from my personal life. Like millions of other kids, when I finished high school, I was encouraged by my parents to go to college. Without a degree you don't matter, they said. My love of entrepreneurship led me to pick business administration as my major. Month by month I cared less and less. I found it harder and harder to attend classes and prepare for exams. I doubt you could find a student who cared less than I did, even though I'm a perfectionist by nature. Less than 2 years later I dropped out. No amount of self-discipline could have helped me keep studying something that can only be taught in the real world. As much as my parents encouraged me to keep going, I couldn't force myself to spend several years studying things that couldn't be even applied in the real world. I vowed to never again do things that clash with my personal goals and views. It's a mismanagement of resources, time and energy that could have been spent on something that would bring me closer to my goals. Constantly monitor yourself. Bad habits are difficult to overcome because they happen too quickly. Before we know it, we shove a chocolate bar down our throat. Your why is of no use if your habits leave you unable to take Action. That's why it's so important to constantly monitor your thoughts and stay focused on the present moment. With the amount of distractions available at hand in the modern world, it's easy to forget about your resolutions. You grab a chocolate bar while texting a friend and wash it down with a can of a sugary drink while you update your status. Studies show that distracted shoppers are more likely to sample food at the sampling station in the supermarket. Consequently, they go home with more items than they originally wanted to buy, usually the total opposite of what they should have been eating. You can apply the findings from this study in your own life. If we're more likely to give in when we're distracted, it's important to pay attention to our thoughts and declutter our minds. I find meditation a useful tool to learn how to bring your focus to the present moment, but virtually every other type of practicing mindfulness will do the trick. The fewer distractions that cloud your judgment, the easier it will be to remind yourself of your why and stick to your resolutions to make yourself more focused on the present moment. Consider reducing the amount of time you spend on social media. I never check social media on my phone and check my email only on rare occasions when I'm waiting for an important reply. With fewer distractions, I'm able to better focus on the now and avoid mindless actions that would threaten my long-term goals.